Hello, Gemini, and welcome to my channel, Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a reading for mid-February 2023, looking at your recent past, your current energy, and your immediate future. As you can see, I've already gone ahead and pulled the oracle cards and clarified those. I have the overall energy for the reading. We'll dive into tarot, and then I have the decks that I'll be using in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. All right, Gemini. In your recent past, you have confidence is your key to success with the Ten of Cups. So this reading is going to be about finding emotional fulfillment for you. What that looks like and how to let go of some limiting beliefs that are keeping you from that. Now, in your recent past, I feel like you were experiencing situations that were making you feel as if this Ten of Cups was just not possible. Now, I feel like this could be a level of looking a little bit too much to your external environment to fulfill you. Super normal, super natural. But kind of the point of this reading is going to be how to find that fulfillment within and what that looks like so that you can start to manifest better for yourself instead of having to experience the same lessons over and over again. Now, in your current energy, you have a look at the bigger picture with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. So the universe is asking you to zoom your perspective out and look more at your life through the lens of gratitude as opposed to lack. Now, I can say that because your overall energy for this reading is gratitude with shadow. And so this has a lot to do. Shadow came out in the Taurus reading too, which I thought was interesting. I just did the Taurus reading. And I promise these cards are shuffled to Gemini, but this is about not allowing your shadow side, which is going to be the more fearful, unhealed version of you, overcome or be more present than the new you, if you will. The more the person that is rooted in the part of you that's rooted in gratitude and faith and excitement for the future, because it's really easy when it feels like things aren't going our way to allow that shadow side of us to come out and start to make decisions for us. And that's typically when we start to self-sabotage or veer from our path, our truth, whatever the case might be. I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm just saying this is kind of like, it feels like a warning from the universe almost to zoom out, not let your shadow self get in the way. Now, you do have the Ten of Cups and the Ten of Pentacles. So this is about, long-term fulfillment, long-term stability, success, whatever it is that you're ultimately, aiming for. But it's about finding it within first so that it can be, reflected in your external environment. It's as above, so below, as within, so without. It's not the other way around. Now, your immediate future is don't let pride get in your way with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. So this is a little bit about this, this reading is kind of talking about ego and learning not to let your ego be, not to identify with your ego, right? So a pretty spiritual reading here, but I feel like it'll be, these messages are going to be really beneficial for whoever's open to them. All right. Recent past for Gemini. This is recent past for Gemini, clarifying confidence is your key to success. With the Ten of Cups, just recent past for Gemini. What energy was Gemini dealing with in their recent past? Energy was Gemini dealing with in their recent past? Because confidence to me can go a little bit further, and it can mean like faith as well. Nine of Cups in reverse with the Queen of Cups in reverse. This, I want to make sure. I think I know what this is saying. Can I get more on this message, please? More on the Nine of Cups in reverse and the Queen of Cups. Okay, yeah, Page of Wands in reverse. And then Ace of Swords in reverse. Okay. You have had a tendency, because we are talking about recent past, to allow yourself to spiral into negative thinking. We've all been there, right? But the key to finding this emotional fulfillment is to not allow the negative thoughts to be your truth. And the hardest part of that is finding a truth and learning to stick with it, even during times when things aren't necessarily going your way or don't feel like they're going your way. Because the thing is, it's about choosing faith over fear, right? It's about choosing faith over what we are scared might happen, or over what we, the lens we currently see our circumstances through. And so I really feel, because that confidence to me can also, like I said, mean faith. It's faith is your key to success. Our happiness, especially long-term happiness, it does not come from our material world. It comes from within. And so happiness comes from faith. It doesn't come from the outcome. And so I feel like this is about learning to not let your emotions dictate how you view your life. It's kind of that idea of not letting a bad day make you feel like you're having a bad life, which is hard to do, especially when you're feeling triggered. And so your recent past, I feel like you were kind of dealing with maybe more of those negative mindset spirals. You got to experience them so that you don't have to, so that you can learn to break free of them. So please don't think that you were doing anything wrong or that you were weak-minded in those moments. It's not the case at all. This journey is about building a mindset that you feel happy in regardless of your circumstances. And it's hard to do. Finding fulfillment, finding that happiness within, it's not an easy feat. And that's why most people don't do it. Most people search for their happiness through the material world because it gives them more control over their environment. And that control, it is a false sense of control. And eventually that whatever you achieve, it's not going to fulfill you for the long term, right? Eventually it will wear off and you'll need something else to fulfill you in order to continue to maintain the level of happiness that you would once experience. And it's living for the highs, right? If we live for the highs, we're always going to experience the crash. And fulfillment is a little bit more of, yes, of course there's highs and lows, but instead of the highs and lows being like this, they're a little bit, they're the ups and downs. They're not so extreme and they're not so often. It's a little bit of an up and then a dip, but then more up and a little dip, and it's experiencing sustainable happiness, not living for that next high. And I feel like this whole reading is about learning to do that. Recent past for Gemini. Recent past for Gemini, please. Gemini's recent past. Heartbreak. Oh, goodness. Okay. Two of Pentacles in reverse. Is this upright? No, that's in reverse. And that's the Three of Swords in reverse. You're healing. You've been healing. I don't even know if you've realized you've been healing. And I think this might be a time for you to take a look at where your life was a year or 2 years ago and be pretty proud of yourself, because I feel like you've come really far. Now, things don't feel like they've come back into balance for you through this healing. And I feel like that's been the most frustrating thing, is you're like, why do I not feel like I'm back in balance? Why do I not feel like my life is where I want it to be yet? Because you're still dealing with some internal stuff. You're still dealing with some blockages. The Five of Wands energy is like, we can put out faith all day long, but if inside of us we still are in alignment with fear or, past hurt or whatever the case might be, then we're conflicting ourselves, this conflicting energy. So we have to consciously stay, 95%, I want to make sure, okay, yeah, 95% of our movements, choices, decisions, actions, that actually stems from our subconscious. Only 5% of the way that we interact with our environment is conscious. And so we have to use that 5% to consciously respond rather than react, so that our responses eventually become our reactions. Because our reactions are usually negative. The first way that we view situations is going to be through the lens of fear and limiting beliefs. And so that's why it's really important to not take the first way that you view situation as truth, to not take it as, oh, my life, it's like if you have a bad day, don't look at, your life as a bad life. But you've been doing a lot of healing, and you've been doing, I feel like, what you need to do to heal. But now it's about it's replacing that pain with positive beliefs, because your beliefs right now are rooted in your, what you've experienced. And if you've experienced heartbreak and pain and betrayal or whatever the case might be, then you're going to expect those things for yourself. And so right now is about retraining yourself to think in alignment with faith, as opposed to fear. This is overcoming your shadow side, and it is freaking hard to do. Recent past for Gemini. Recent past for Gemini. The Page of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah. So there's an opportunity for you. You can be hearing beyond your wildest dreams that you're building to. And right now, you're dealing with all of the reasons you don't feel it's possible, you don't feel capable, you don't feel like, you're worthy or deserving. And so if things aren't or haven't come together yet, it doesn't mean they're not coming together. It just means that they haven't come together yet, right? Now remember, healing isn't linear. Sometimes you're going to feel like you've made progress, and other times you're going to feel like you slipped back into old ways of thinking. And that's kind of just the way it goes. It's a messy journey, and I feel like you're learning that a little bit right now too. Not that you didn't know that, but you're experiencing that. I feel like that would be a better way to say that. Well, let's see. Current energy for Gemini, because I feel like this energy is going to start getting a little bit lighter because your recent past feels kind of heavy. Current energy for Gemini. Current energy for Gemini, please. Oh, wow. There's the Lovers in reverse with the Wheel of Fortune. In reverse. The Wheel of Fortune's in reverse. And there's that Queen of Cups in reverse again. Yeah, okay. So this is exactly what I said. This is learning that you're deserving of more than you've been allowing yourself to settle for. That's this confidence. Because that's why you look at the bigger picture too. This is a long-term battle you've been having with yourself about pursuing what you deserve over what you feel obligated to. This kind of came in through the Taurus reading too, a little bit. So if you have Taurus in your chart, I recommend watching that one as well. But I just feel like this is like, zoom out your perspective, because this situation and what you're going through right now is teaching you a lot about your worth, your capabilities, and what's possible. Because I feel, Gemini, like you've been settling. No more settling. Current energy for Gemini. Clarifying, look at the bigger picture. I want to clarify this. Look at the bigger picture with the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. Your comfort zone. You've been settling. That's exactly what this is. And you've been settling because you doubt that what you ultimately want isn't possible. And you are tired of settling. This is about tapping into gratitude. Because gratitude can absolutely transform your life. I've watched it happen in my own life. I've watched it happen in other people's lives. If we focus on what we lack, focus on the negative, if we, let ourselves kind of spiral into that, which, like I said, everyone has the tendency to do that, we'll find ourselves always feeling out of lack. Per the law of attraction, what we focus on is what we attract more of. So there's this need to focus on what you are grateful for in your current environment. And if you're not grateful for where your life is at right now, that's okay. You don't have to feel like you are exactly where you want to be. You just have to focus on the little things you're grateful for. Whatever that might be for you. And if you're going through a particularly rough time, focus on the stuff that it's easy to take for granted. The fact that you have shoes on your feet, the fact that you have a device to watch this on right now, start small. And then eventually you'll watch the things you're grateful for turn into more things you're grateful for, and more things and more things and more things. A grateful mindset is invincible. And that's where you build fulfillment, because it starts from within. The more that we're able to find fulfillment and excitement and gratitude within, the more that will be reflected in our external environment, I promise you. And so I feel like this is a level of zooming your perspective out and understanding that what you're going through it's almost like it's like this shadow side of you is being tested right now. It's being poked at, it's being triggered, if you will. And so gratitude is the only way to overcome that. Current energy for Gemini. I like this reading. Current energy for Gemini. So take some steps out of your comfort zone here. There's a leap of faith that's needed, but it's a leap towards something that you've wanted for a really long time. But you're having a hard time. Ooh, goodness. Okay. You fear this energy, this Ten of Swords energy. You fear regret, failure. I don't know. Whatever you fear. Fear is fear. It's very individualized. Um, but your shadow side, it's because you're not living the life you want. If this is your reading, you are not living the life of your dreams. You're not where you want to be. Um, and right now you're allowing your shadow side, the side of you that's rooted a little bit more fear, to dictate your decision making. That 95% of you that's rooted in, that has limiting beliefs and fearful, thoughts, you're allowing that side of you to have more control than it should. Now, of course, that's human nature. It's and this whole thing is about overcoming your monkey brain, right? Overcoming that the responses that are so natural because they become ingrained in us over generations and throughout your lifetime. The habits that you've built since you were a kid too. So this is a lot more than just, you're not just dealing with your fear about this situation. You're dealing with fear about the situation that is ingrained in you. So that's why it's so intense. That's why it's so difficult, right? And that's why you have don't let pride get in your way, because your ego, pride, ego, it's that part of you that wants to protect you, right? It wants to protect you. And so it does that by going, hey, you need to freak out because this situation seems really scary. And your reaction needs to be in alignment with what I think the case is, And then and that's kind of your ego, your shadow side, that it's kind of similar. And then there's the part of you that's healed, that's faithful, that believes in the magic of the universe, that believes that you deserve to have what you want. That side of you has to go, I'm not going to freak out. I'm not going to overreact. I'm not going to let this situation or this trigger or this fear determine my next move. I'm going to realize that it's because that's the biggest thing that was really hard for me on this journey, was that your shadow side, your fearful side, it doesn't go away. You never get to a point where you're like, oh, wow, I am no longer afraid of anything. It gets to a point where you say, I know that fear. I've been through this fear. I've recognized this fear. This fear has sabotaged me before, and I'm not going to I'm not going to do it again. And it's almost like I did a personal reading for someone, and I loved the way I talked about it. It was the first time I ever did. And I said, it's like you get to know your fear as like your weird friend fear that just tries to ruin everything. But it does it because it's a very nervous friend that you have. This friend is very anxious, and it's always very worried about what could possibly go wrong. So it's always like, are you sure you want to do that? Be very careful. You don't know what could happen. Did you, and the person, the fear, your weird friend fear is always, triple checking the locks at night. And it's, and I talk about it as like, you get to know your weird friend fear, and that friend, it's like you start to understand your weird friend fear, and you start to understand that he doesn't mean any harm. He just is, he's experienced a lot in his life, and he's been through a lot, and because of that he's really really fearful of things. He's always, prepared for disaster. And so he tries to sabotage, good things happening because he always wants you to be safe. And that's where you can allow, if you don't listen to your weird friend fear. Become friends with him because he needs a friend, he needs a friend. But you go, okay, weird friend fear. All right, thank you for the input. And then you continue to go on your way. Um, but it's not an easy thing to do because your weird friend fear, he's really, really good at thinking out worst case scenarios. He's really good at being like, one time my friend, Sal, had this happen and his house blew up, whatever the case might be. And he's always telling you to be extra careful or cautious. Okay, enough talking about weird friend fear. Anyway, I really want you to try to look at your fear from that perspective, from realizing that it's just a part of you and it's not a truth. It's a level of you that you don't really have conscious control over until you're able to accept it and get to know it. And in order to do that, you have to experience it, right? Um, so that's kind of what I'm feeling in this reading for you, is overcoming your weird friend fear. Immediate future for Gemini. I don't know why that analogy makes me laugh, because it makes so much sense. But it's funny. Okay. Immediate future for Gemini, clarifying, don't let pride get in your way, with the Two of Pentacles in reverse. Oh, that's just Al. He's just a nervous friend. I don't know. If your name's Al, I'm sorry. Don't get mad at me. All right. Your immediate future is you're gonna kind of have a little bit of a perspective shift. Because I feel like what you're needing to realize is that the reason things haven't happened for you yet is because you haven't gone out and made them happen. Because of fear, Now, maybe you haven't been able to handle your fear because you've been healing. You've been healing from your past, and so you're not ready to take on more right now. That's okay. That's an okay place to be too. But I do feel like the more that you keep your intentions aligned with, I'm overcoming my fear and I'm on my path to living the life that I want, the more you can align your intentions with that, the more that you'll start to take the right steps, because there's no such thing as the right moves, right? It's not, you don't have to second guess every single action, and understand that if your intentions are aligned, it's going to happen in divine time. If you're not ready to take the leap today, maybe you'll be tomorrow, and if you're not ready tomorrow, you'll be it someday. It's just understanding that this is a process, and you will get there, and you will get to where you want to be, as long as you allow yourself to get there, as long as you allow yourself to embrace the journey, right? All right, immediate future for Gemini. Immediate future for Gemini. The Knight of Wands. Look at that! A breakthrough! Oh my goodness, Gemini, you are going to have a major breakthrough in your immediate future. You're like, breakthrough about your weird friend fear. Because a lot of these fears that you're experiencing, they stem from what you've learned since you were a kid, what you've learned about the world, what you've learned was possible. And it's like, if you want to take a leap of faith and start a business, if you want to quit your 9 to 5 and become a tarot reader, your parents are going to be like, that's insane, because your parents, since you were a kid, have been telling you life is one way, right? But you have to take that leap of faith and believe things on yourself. Now, of course, I am talking about myself in this situation, but that goes for anything. If you believe that something is meant for you to do, you have to overcome the voices in your head that you've internalized since you were a kid. And so this breakthrough, it's a big breakthrough, but it's not going to come if you aren't able to kind of set your ego to the side and listen to your soul. Which is hard to do, because again, your ego is here to protect you. Your ego isn't a bad thing. People think on a spiritual journey it's about killing off the ego for good. No, it's about learning that your ego isn't you, and learning to work with your ego instead of your ego working against you. Immediate future for Gemini. I don't know why I keep doing this, but I just feel like I need to. Immediate future for Gemini. feel like you have a lot to look forward to in your immediate future. You have the Star and the Two of Cups. So this is like hope regained. I feel like you felt kind of hopeless. This is hope regained. Now, remember, as a tarot reader, I'm not here to tell you exactly what's going to happen in your future. I'm here to tell you if you take the advice, if you allow yourself, if you stay in alignment with your path, this is what you can expect, right? You could fall out of alignment, you could choose fear, you could listen to Al, your weird friend Fear. I don't know why Al. I don't know why I'm probably Weird Al. Makes sense. All right. Anyway, you could listen to your fear, or you can try to break free from it. It really is a choice, and it's not an easy choice. Believe me, I know that it's not easy. Like I said, fear is very, very believable because it knows all the worst case scenarios, and it's going to sit there and talk your ear off about them until you choose not to listen. All right, Gemini, we are going to hop on over to the extended. I'm going to clarify these messages, pull some cards from Spirit, get an advice card at the end. Thank you so much, as always, for the support of my channel. It means the absolute world to me. I hope this reading resonated and helped you in the ways that you were looking for, and I hope to see you back on my channel in the future. All right, bye, Gemini.